Alafia, Aho, I say Namaste, and thank you for watching Shadow of Wolves. And blessings to all of you, you, and you. Thank you for those who take the time out to subscribe, like, share, and comment on my videos. This keeps the algorithm of YouTube going. Let's talk about some of the questions that have been asked. How do you know when you are ready to go into Osha? How do you know the time has come for you to be crowned in Orisha faith? We're going to go over the process of this. We're also going to go over your spiritual energy, as they say, Iku Lobi Ocha. So let's start as we are in the month of July, and many blessings to you. July 2025. Those who are listening, thank you for tuning in, and we will begin. Many people say, well, how do I know I'm ready to be crowned in Orisha faith? Orisha faith is a very, very sacred faith. This crown of Osha is not only a big step in a lot of sacrifices that have to be made. We're going to go over it. But also, too, it takes a lot of transitioning when we speak about that. So how do we know? Those who already have knowledge and knowledge base of Orisha practice, those who already have knowledge, who have done their Eleki ceremony, have went through, they have gotten their warriors. Some of you have received the Lokun. Some of you have received Imagwas. Okay, some of you are very much prepared. Basically, you should already know when you're preparing for this, the meaning and the numbers for Orisha. Okay, Elegua, is 3 and 21. The colors of Elegua is red and black. This is how I pray to Elegua, Ogun, Ochosi. This is how I say my prayers to my white table and so forth. Why am I mentioning white table? First and foremost, before we start even thinking about going into Orisha faith, we need to also have a good relationship with God first, then know who our spirit guides are. We should also have a good base in knowing how what we call a mesa blanca is conducted. Before Orisha, we should know how to have a spiritual altar, okay? And the basic energies of Orisha, okay? Ochun, for example, is at the river. Elegua is everywhere at the four corners. Yamaya is at the ocean and governs the lakes, and so forth. For those of you who are new to my channel, please, you can go back and refer to preparation and being a Yabo. And what do I do? Help, I'm going into Santo. And also, what do I do when I receive my warriors? Those are basic questions, and the video explains everything. Going into Osha is a process. When you know you're ready to go into Orisha faith, first and foremost, is that it's not something that is pushed. It is not something that you feel, well, I have to do. The worst case scenario, and it usually does happen, is to say, well, I've been diagnosed with a sickness, or I'm not feeling well, or my life is going through a horrendous, terrible process, and I need to be crowned in Orisha faith to fix everything. The worst case scenario is to say, okay, I want to go into Orisha faith because I want to crown a lot of people, or I want to feel like I want to open a botanica and make money. This is not what Orisha is of. This is not Orisha faith to think this way. The best way to go into Orisha faith, and we will cover the process, is to go when you're feeling great, not when something happens. It's not good to go in somewhere when things are all broken. Yes, Orisha, they make miracles. They do save lives. They do help, of course. But how about when your foundation of spirituality is good? You have an idea who the Orisha are, what you're getting involved in, the Ile, the house of the godparents that you're being involved in, okay? And also, too, your readiness in being involved in. So it's not like, oh, I was diagnosed with X, Y, and Z. I don't feel well. I am sick. I need to make Santo, or my life isn't. Because I'll ask you this. When you're going into getting a car, don't you know how to drive? Don't you know how the car operates somewhat? Don't you have to pass the permit? Don't you have to get your driver's license? Don't you have to have those things in place when you're going to start and you buy a vehicle, right? When you have to get on the bus or the train, don't you know the fare that it takes, the money to get on the train, and the process of what train you're getting on and how you're going to arrive there? And you have to have the cognitive state to be able to take that train or that bus. You have to have the cognitive state to take a Lyft or an Uber. This is what I'm saying. You need to have your ducks in a row when you are preparing to go into Osha. Many think that Orisha faith is a walk in the park, that it's easy breezy, that, oh, everything looks so glamorous on the internet, and the clothes or the throne and the vessels that the Orisha live in, that, oh, that's like nothing and it's easy, it's 1, 2, 3. No, it's a very big, beautiful, but yet arduous process. So where do we begin? In the blessings and speaking about Osha, they have now used the term Osha, Lukumi, meaning my friend. This is our faith, right? Many have turned from the base of saying Santeria because of movies, because of prejudice. Oh, this is witchcraft, this is evil. That is not true. Orisha faith, in the path of Osha, in the path of Lukumi, and blessings to Santeria, where you have had from Africa to Cuban and African fusion, it is just really beautiful. It is according in any religious base, and I don't like to use the term religion because religion means to rely on. And that's not what we're here for. So in these different movies and different things, they have said so many things to make people hide what they believe in. This is not the 16th and 17th, 18th century where we have to hide what we do and what we believe. So when you know that you're ready for Orisha faith, it's not the glamour when you see someone who is crowned with that Orisha and they're on earth in a tambor or a weed or anya, and they're talking to you. The human flesh will always fail you. It is the blessing of first Olodumare, in that term meaning God. It is the blessing of Olofi, Olorun. It is a blessing of Orisha to be able to give you the presence and the blessing of when it's time to go into Osha. So what do you do first? First and foremost is to practice knowing and understanding who your spirit guides are. To know the basics and to practice your prayers. Now, what I do love so much about Orisha faith and speaking for Lukumi, Santeria, and so forth, is that we definitely prepare our godchildren to have their spiritual foundation. This is very important. So some of you start off with your spiritual table, your altar. Some of you prepare, okay, in doing your prayers. And we don't do mayubas at the table. The minute I see in a spiritual altar, someone is saying, oh, mayuba this, and they're doing kinkamache, spiritual is different from Orisha. So for your background, say you come from the church, then you could be in front of your table, you could be in a mass, and you're saying your prayers of God. You're saying your prayers. And why is this so beautiful? Because when there was the slave trade and all this transaction from Africa, there were still praying slaves and foot soldiers, those who even have the background of the Baptist church, the Catholic church, and so forth. Your ancestors that came and they lived in the United States of America or Canada or Brazil or Puerto Rico or Cuba. They have learned the ways in praying in the church. So you still have to honor that. That's the first and foremost. Many people go into Orisha, they jump, they do their 3 masses, and they don't even know who their spirit guides are or their main spirits or who is working with them. When we're doing a prayer or we're sitting at the table and we start to get spiritual intuition, even intuition in many of you, and I've seen it, beautiful spiritual people who have also had those spirits come through and speak or come through and clean. You must know, even when using spiritual tools and prayers, which spirit is giving you that intuition. So how do you develop? You have to develop spiritually first before you walk in Orisha faith. That is first and foremost. Even before we go in to get crowned, they're doing things and they're saying certain things for your ancestors and prayers to see how it turns out in the beginning. So what do? Don't force yourself. Don't feel pressured. Don't feel pressured, okay? It shouldn't be at the time when you're doing really bad or you feel sick. It should feel good. It should flow really nice to say, okay, I'm ready for this. Now, if it is in that way where you are sick or something happens and you say, okay, I'm going to Orisha, that is fine too. But the best way into going into this is to make sure that your heart is ready and that you go in clear. Because once again, when you have a car, you have to know how to drive. So know how to navigate and work with your spirits. Know how to set up your praying altar. And you choose Orisha faith, they will choose you as well. Because if your spirits are not in agreement for you to go into Osha, if your spirits and your ancestors are not in agreement for you to knock on that door of Orisha faith and to be crowned in Orisha, then it'll be very hard. It's not ready to happen, plain and simple. Now let's go over that. There are many people who live, away from anything spiritual. It's just them. They have their cup of water and so forth. You doing your prayers and starting that way and praying to God first and foremost, and even from there and from that and so forth, and saying your prayers and practicing, not looking at everything on the internet, but practicing to know what you see even in a bowl of water. If there are masses of good people, they call misas or mesa blanca or spiritual mass. Those masses, you can go for spiritual development. If you feel at the moment you're in a strange house, you don't have your spiritual house or your Orisha Ile yet, and you feel something weird, follow your intuition. Don't go anymore. That's it. You see? So it's good to be under the guidance when you plan on going to Orisha faith of a good godparent who is crowned in Orisha and they have their spiritual background, or padrino who is crowned in Orisha and they have their spiritual background. Okay, when you're going to their prayer masses, then you will be more open to spiritualism. A lot of those prayer masses, when it comes to Orisha faith, when it comes to the blessing of Lukumi, oh, they're so beautiful, because there you will see others who have spiritual development and they will tell you, Misa and prayer mass after prayer mass, which spirit guides little by little are walking with you. And if you are able to even have a mass in your house and tell your godparents, they will bring people and you will have a beautiful mass and you will see what spirits are walking with you. Very good spiritual readings are also good to see what spirits are walking with you. Take your time little by little. There's no way, even if you get into Osha, say you decide to do that, but you didn't prepare your spiritual frame, the energy is not the same. It won't really come out all that great, because with the blessing, when you get crowned and they speak and they are talking to, the Dilogon speaks, your spirit is also with you. Your spirit guides and your ancestors are always with you. So take your time. You don't need to rush. You know, there's no rush into Orisha faith. Anything that is rushed, if I'm sitting here and I got a big plate of food, well, too much food is either going to make you sick and make you choke. So it's not that you need to know everything, but take your time. Even when a baby is born, they are fed milk before they are even given cereal or any kind of food. So take your time. Once you know that you are spiritually developed, you have attended prayer mass, you have a background of your family that also had masses, you have done good spiritual readings, and you know that you can confirm your spirit guides. And you know that they are there because the same spirit guide will come up in a misa, in a prayer mass. They'll come up again when you get a reading and so forth. And they're like, okay, we are here. It's not saying, oh, well, you know what? I like the way this spirit look. I've heard of so many, when I'm doing readings, I've heard of so many new spirits. And I'm old school. I'm like from the old school tradition. And some of these spirits, I'm like, whoa, where did this one come from? Hey, I'm not saying that they're not beautiful. I'm not saying that some of these deities that are very known, that are high level deities, for some people, they may have a Pompajira with all blessings. Some of them may have Lashmi. Some of them, how beautiful. They have high deities and different energies that are walking, and they mention this in readings, or even beautiful spirits as Hecate, witches and so forth, and beautiful, or a monk or something. They may have this, and you may have this with you. Some of these new energies, I don't even bother to research at the time. I don't. Because I'm comfortable in my old ways of what I've known. Anything that is new, if somebody sees a certain energy walking with me, okay, I respect you, and I respect your spiritual frame, and I respect your spirits. But it doesn't mean I'm going to run and start putting up an altar or anything of that spirit unless I know that that energy or that spirit or that ascended master or that energy is walking with me. So take your time. The Orisha will come to you, and then when you know that it's time for you to knock on that door of Osha, now let's get into it. I was told not to make such long videos. Young people these days was like, you know, Shadow, just do 10 minutes, do 5 minutes. It's so hard for me because I have so much to teach and so much to say, and I don't really upload as often as I would want to, but that will be happening where I'll be uploading more. Now, how do you know when you're ready to knock on that door of Orisha faith? You let go and you make sacrifices for all spiritual energies to descend. That means that you don't mind when they have to do something with your hair. You don't mind of what you're going to look like for that year and 7 days with your white clothes. You don't mind. You have gotten rid of earth-bound energies. Things like nails, hair, skin, it sheds, it's gone, it's old energy. That's when you're knocking on the door with pure faith. That's when you're not going to try to look up secrets and see things that they're doing in certain platforms that are really not acceptable. You will trust your godparents who are crowned in Orisha faith to gently guide you, to teach you for what you don't need to know. At that moment, you're not ready to know. We're not supposed to know the secrets behind those doors. No matter what, you're blocking your own self by looking into ceremony secrets. Yes, times have changed, things have changed. It doesn't mean that what's on the internet showing ceremonies or different things is correct. Orisha faith is a big sacrifice. Why? You can't have any statue in your house and say, okay, I consecrated this. This is a statue of Obatala, I have Orisha. All of those secrets and those energies live in those vessels, and they are prepared by all those people who are invited to your Orisha faith, who are crowned. Everything is sacred. Some people have them in very beautiful, simple vessels. Some people have them elaborate. The main thing is not you focusing on the material energy of Orisha, with the Ache and the blessings and all the Ache of Alofi, of Olodumare. This is the beauty of Orisha. How do you know? Orisha, when they come down, they don't put, you don't have to be worried as, are they going to be mad at me? Is something bad going to happen? That's not how Orisha works. That's human energy. When you feel comfortable and you're ready to have on your white for 1 year and 7 days, some houses are 1 year and 14 days. That's how you know you're ready. When you're ready to give up jewelry, unless it is jewelry of Orisha, that's how you know. Many people claim the walk, but they don't know the sacrifice behind the true walk of Orisha. They don't know the walk. They don't know. It looks beautiful on different platforms, but it takes time and nothing changes. So there's a lot of sacrifice that the Yabo has to go through. And that's how you know that you're prepared. When you're like, okay, I'm going in with blind faith. This is what must be done. Oh, I have to be under the throne for 7 days. This is what has to be done. Oh my goodness, I have to wait. I have to be prepared that I have to use unscented soap and so forth and go through so many things. That is a sacrifice. I cannot worship vanities. That is a sacrifice, because that year and 7 days is there to clean you. So how do you know when you're ready? When you don't think of these things? How do you know when it is time and you are in the right Ile, in the right house? When you are listening and the godparent, they have prayer masses and they're not putting their godchildren down in the prayer mass, whether it's through their own spirit, because the spirit of light does not give that kind of proclamation, okay? They gently correct the person either in private if it's something embarrassing, or they will have a way to talk to them. When you know that you're comfortable, when you're happy, when you feel good, the house is clear. They're not continuously, making you do this, that, and this. No, everything is clear. You need to know the do's and the don'ts before you go into Orisha faith. Know the do's and don'ts that you're supposed to do. Ask, hey, Padrino, Madrina, can I wear my eyelashes or fingernails or whatever it is, anything worldly? Ask. When you know that you don't care and your love in your heart and your Iwa Pele is there, it doesn't matter if the human energy, it doesn't matter what God's sibling is doing this or what was said and done. You know that that's what it's for. It's not to go so that you can hurry up and crown people. It doesn't how it works. That's not how it works. That is not how it works. Or I can be rich and open a botanica. That's not how it works. That is ugly. You have to know that you have love for this. You have to know that the true Iwa Pele and good morals and good character, no matter what is going on around you, people can do or say whatever, but you don't give up your faith in Orisha. You stay with the blessing of your Orisha. Now, there's people that I've run into in amusement parks and so forth. They have turned to me and I say, okay. They say, oh yeah, I got my Orisha. No. Orisha faith, and how you know, everything has to be done in person, honey. There is no internet Orisha where they mailing Santos, mailing Orisha to your house. Orisha doesn't get mailed to the house. Orisha, there's a reason why. Orisha is very strict, y'all. It's very strict, so know this path. Orisha is something that is very, very detailed. And everybody that walks in that room to give you bless is somebody that's crowned in Orisha. The person that's running the ceremony is an Obariate. that he's not only crowned, but he's also had his hands washed because he has no A-ways. So if the Oba's a child of Chango and you're a child of Ochun and they got to do certain things to you, they have rights to do it because their hands have no A-ways. Then you have the blessing in the Mantanza, and you receive the hand of a ruler, then you know that you have the blessing of the certain things that are done by the Babalaos and the law. Everybody that's walked in there has Orisha. So people that's getting mail for Orisha is very strict. It's different from spiritual energy. But we need spiritual energy to walk in that path of Orisha and to knock on that door. You have to be ready. You have to make sure you're saving and having your white clothes. You know you're saving, that you're praying. And those of you who have had your past and you've been through it and you know you're ready and you've been through some places or some elay that you don't look back or you don't like or whatever, just leave it alone. Don't talk about it. Move on with the new godparent that you know that you trust and believe in. Don't bring the negative energy near because the person is still crowned. So this is why some people may think that I'm being like a stickler, but anybody that's older than me, they don't have to be my godparent. They don't have to be part of my elay. But once I know that you are older than me, 15 years old in Santo, 12 years old, I will always say bendición. It's not you. It's not the person. It's their Ori that the Orisha was seated in, that is seated in, that will tell you Santo. We don't say Santo until we know that we are crowned, because that's the saint that's on the head. And then those who are younger than us, say somebody will tell me, oh, bendición, and they are 8 years old, I would say, okay, Santo. If I know the person is older, I always bendición, always. And it's not about an egotistical clout. It's just, that is from back then, the tradition. Now people are greeting each other, oh, alafia, alafia. Alafia is good. Alafia means blessings. But for me, I wouldn't tell my elders, oh, just alafia. That means, okay, I'm at the standard that you're in. We have to crawl before we walk. You have your blessing or your spiritual crown too. But the elders are the elders. And that's how I do. And no matter what, whatever Santo's on their head, or even if I see I don't know the person or they a little shady or whatever, I see them. And especially it's an event. Hey, bendición. Now, if I keep saying bendición and I keep saying it and the person don't say Santo, then clearly, then I'm not going to say, okay, blessing. This is my spiritual energy. I'm crowned in Orisha faith. My ferefun or chosi in my life. I am crowned to chosi. And if I see them and I keep saying bendición a couple of times and they don't say it, then you know what, forget it. That's different, right? So how do you know? Orisha is very strict, guys. Those of you who are listening, kudos to you and blessing, blessing, blessing. It's very strict. Why do I say that? Because you really have to be ready. So you know that you're going into a path of Orisha faith when you're willing as a Yahweh, as a new secret within the faith, as a new bride, as a new groom, and so forth. You know that there are certain things that you shouldn't be saying yet. Take in the knowledge that you can take in. When you're crowned, take in the knowledge. If there's things that you need to ask your godparents in private, then ask. The worst thing that you can do, and what I tell people is, with all blessing, I'm 10 years crowned. But what I would tell somebody, if they're asking me a question, and it's somebody's godchild, and the godparents in the house, and they say, oh, what do I do with this, this, and that? You're supposed to ask your godparent first. That's what they're there for. It is highly disrespectful for someone to turn to another elder or another person and their godparent is right there. And they're like, oh, so what is the purpose of a straw mat? Or do I put this here? What I do is I just redirect. Hey, why don't you ask your godmother or godfather? Because why? In Obara Eunle 6-8, the ears don't pass the head. I don't want to get into that because I'm going to keep this simple. Ask. Because the same way that you have to trust the Ile that you're going to, those godparents have to trust you. How you show that loyalty is you ask and ask them. Talk to them. If you feel in a way, talk to them. If you feel it's something not right, talk to them. Now, it becomes very punitive or if you have somebody that's putting you down or things are really bad, then you know what you need to do. But at the same time, the same way people say, oh, you know, be careful with Santero or be careful with Babalao, be careful with, I don't know, Alua or Santera and so forth. Well, how about be careful with those who knock on the door? Because trust goes both ways. It surely does, because there are many elders where I've also heard their sadness and their nightmares and their stories, right? But it doesn't mean it's true. There's always three sides. Then I've also seen things, because so many years I've been around. I've seen things. So they've been through a lot. A lot of elders have been through a lot, or a lot of people that have crowns or have their Ile, they've been through it too. Then a lot of Aleos have been through it. A lot of those who are Yabos or so forth, everybody's been through it. So what is the best thing is communication. Try your best to do that. So how do you know when you are ready for Osha? This is the Ache of becoming something big in your life. This is the blessing that you go in without the vanities, without wanting love, without having past issues of family dynamics. You're going to cut that off. Everybody got problems. You're going in for the love of Orisha, for the love of Orisha. And you're not going to, when you're ready to get your guardian angel pulled, you're not going to be like, oh, I didn't want this one. Oh, I'm so fancy. I think I'm this one or that one. Or I'm so powerful. No, they pick you and you have love for them. Then when you go into Ocha, they all become your parents. You have your one crown, then you have your parent, then you have the ones that you're born from. You go in with love and pure faith. Iwa Pele. That's what you go in with. Alafia. Aho. I say namaste. And thank you for watching Shadow of Wolves, and blessings to all of you. May you always have Ide. Ache.